Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor here. If today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for stopping by. On this YouTube channel, we learn how to turn void materials into a beautiful piece. So please do also click on the subscribe button if you're yet to subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first person to be notified whenever I post a new video. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your love and support. So guys, today we're going to be learning how to draft a simple button down shirt. If this sounds like something that you are interested in, without wasting much of your time, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, for today's tutorial, we are going to be making use of this crepe. Now this is a stretchy crepe and it's thick at the same time, and I have this fabric to be 2 yards. That's what I'm going to be using for the shirt. Now I'm making use of 2 yards because it's going to be a long sleeve. So if you're going to be cutting a short sleeve, and depending on the length you're working with, I would recommend 1.5 yards. And because of this is white, we are going to be drafting on our pattern paper first. All right. So guys, when you are making a button down shirt, the first thing we are expected to do is to mark out our button space. That is where we're going to be creating our buttonhole, and in doing that, I'm going to be coming in here by 3 inches, as you can see here. Now you can come in by 2 inches, but it's recommended you use 3 inches so that by the time you fold it in twice, it's going to cover properly. So we'll go ahead and connect the dotted lines just the way I'm doing. After connecting this line, the next thing we're going to do is to fold it in like this. All right, now after that, we'll go ahead and get our shoulder. Now my shoulder divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. I'll mark the 8 inches here, and I'll add 1 inch allowance to this. Now this is optional because I want the shoulder to come down a bit. All right, now from this place, now the next thing we're going to do is to come down by 2 inches, which is going to be our shoulder slope. Now take note, not the regular 1 inch that will come down for our shoulder slope. Now for your shirt, you can come down by 2 inches, you can come down by 1.5 inches. All right, so I've gone ahead to connect it to meet the neckline. Now from this our shoulder slope, we're going to be getting our second measurement for our shoulder that we divided into 2. Please take note. Now, this is entirely different from the normal or the regular way we get our armhole circumference by dividing our round bust by 6 inches, adding extra 1.5 inch allowance to it. Okay, but now because of this is a shirt I'm going to be making, I will maintain my shoulder divided by 2. Whatever I have is what I will mark there, which is 8. Then we'll go ahead and connect this line and extend it out like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to get our horizontal body measurement. Now from this point, you want to take note that my tape started from where we have from the beginning of the pattern paper, not from the shoulder slope. Please take note. Now the next thing we're going to do right now is to go ahead and get our waist measurement. Okay, so you can see that at this point I did not use the breast point, the under bust. Rather what I'm using is my waist measurement, which is 18. I marked down here. Now from this point, the length of the shirt we are making with today is 27 inches. I will mark it down here. Now I will be adding extra 2 inch allowance. This is going to be 7 for the joining and for the hemming, so that at the end of the day I would have an accurate measurement of 27 inches. We'll go ahead and connect all these lines like this, and then I will label them out. So this is our waistline, and then this is our armhole. Now back to our shoulder. From this place, we're going to be dividing this our armhole circumference by 2, just the way I'm doing it. I'll mark it down here. After marking it down here, from this point, we'll come in by ½ inches, which is where we're going to be connecting the circumference. Now at this point, I am not going to be making use of my round bust measurement. I'm going to be making use of my biggest body measurement, which is the hip. So in essence, I'm making use of this my biggest body measurements, because my shirt is going to be a bit oversized. All right, so my biggest body measurement, which is the hip divided by 4, will give me 11.5, and we'll mark it down here. Okay, now the next we're going to do is to go ahead and connect our armhole round circumference just the way I am doing it, like so. All right, now after connecting it, I will still come here and add extra 2-inch allowance to the armhole. Now you only this is applicable if you are making a bit oversized shirt. Please take note. Now at this waistline, I will still maintain the waistline of my clients because I want the shirt to have a little shape. So at this point here, I will now add extra 3 inches allowance after using the main waistline. All right, so back to this full length. At this full length, we are going to be making use of our biggest body measurement, which is still the hip measurement. So remember that the measurement we use for the armhole is the hip. The only difference is that at this waistline, we use the original waistline and added extra 3 inches allowance. So at this point here, I will mark 11.5 inches, which is our hip measurement. All right, so I'll go ahead and mark 11.5 inches here, and then at this point here I will add extra 3 inches allowance. Okay, so please take note that at the armhole area I use 2 inches allowance, then at the waistline I maintain 3 inches allowance, and then the full length I also maintained 3 inches allowance. So after connecting it now, the next thing we are going to do is to just give it a nice shape here so that it won't be too sharp at that edge. So we'll go ahead and cut through. So please pay attention to the areas that I'm cutting through is where you're going to cut through. Guys, this is what you're expected to have. Now the next one we're going to do is to bring in our fresh pattern paper, which is going to be for the back, and use this our front pattern and place on top of it like this. So you want to pay attention at this area because this is where most of the important detailing of cutting a shirt comes in. Now remember the front neckline, we have it to be 28 inches including the allowances. Right now at this point, if you notice any shirt you're wearing, there's always a come down from the shoulder. You will notice that the shoulder joining usually falls is not at the point of our shoulder. I just hope you understand what I just explained. Now this is because the front and the back pattern are not cut the same way, and you also notice that when we were cutting out our front pattern, we did not cut out the neckline, so you will find out the reason why. Now at this fresh pattern paper, which is going to be our back, we'll fold our paper downward like this by 3 inches. Now this is that come down that you usually see on shirts. All right, and please take note, when I say shirt, I'm referring as a button down shirt, not the normal t-shirt. Please take note. Now this is the 3 inches. I will go ahead and arrange it down properly. Now this is a 3 inches, so we'll bring back our front pattern again and then place it on top of it like this. So please pay attention at this. Now you are meant to come down, fold it on top of this front pattern paper by ½ inch, and remember our button space is still on fold. Please take note of that. All right, now at this point, that 3 inches that came down, you want to make sure that it's lapping on the front pattern by ½ inch. So if you cannot get a ½ inch by just placing it, I would advise you use your tape to mark down ½ inch at this point, and then you fold. Now after folding it, all I'm trying to do here is to make sure that this back pattern is lapping on the front pattern. Then after that, I will go ahead and use my sellotape and seal it down like this. All right, so after sewing it down like this, and we are okay and satisfied that the come down we have has lapped properly at the back pattern, at the front pattern rather, sorry, we'll go ahead and cut out the excess. Now just to verify, you can see that we have our 3 inches at this point. You can see that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and cut. Now pay attention to the area that I'm cutting. Pay attention that I'm cutting the area of the armhole, starting from the armhole down to the full length of our shirt. Okay, and you also want to take note that if you will notice that at this point here, this armhole point, the back pattern, the front pattern is shorter than the back pattern by 1/2 inch at this point. All right, that is because the front shirt armhole and the back armhole is not the same. The front one is usually shorter than the back one. Also take note of that. Now, after getting this, now I will just go ahead and trim out every excesses that this pattern have, starting from this point where we have this point here where we bent our come down slope at the back. I'll cut it out, and I will also cut out this excess. So please, you want to make sure there are no excesses on your own fabric, depending on the style of the button shirt you are working with. Please take note, I'm emphasizing on the button shirt and t-shirt so that you will be able to differentiate the one we are currently working on. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right now is to go ahead and get our neckline. And also, please, I want you to also pay attention to this area as well. Now, from this point here, now because this shirt is going to be a collared t-shirt, I am going to be making use of neck wideness of 2.5 inches. Please take note, I will mark 2.5 inches as the wideness of the neck, because if you're making a collar shirt, you want to avoid it being too big. All right, and then for the shoulder slope, I will also use 2.5 inches. So in total, I maintained 2.5 inches over 2.5 inches. I hope we understand. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and give this a curve. You can see it's still lapping on top. So remember, I came down by 2.5 inches. Now we'll go ahead and connect this line like so. Okay, now the round neckline that I'm working with is 16 inches. I will go ahead and measure the round circumference of this neckline like this to see if I have exactly the neckline that I'm going to use. So when you're cutting a clothes for your clients, it's always advisable for you to get their neck round circumference. Now this is 8. Now the 8 inches, this is 2. This is 2, this is 4. So in total, I have it to be 16 inches. That means it's okay for me. Now I'll just go ahead and give it a nice curve, a proper curve like this, because I'm not liking the way the curve is looking. So I'll go ahead and curve it out just like this. All right, so I hope you are understanding to this point. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to raise this our front pattern up in cutting our neckline. So I'll raise it up, and then I will go ahead and cut it out carefully like this. All right, so guys, I've cut it out, so you can see the way I cut this out is entirely different from the normal way we cut our round neck circumference round. Okay, so you can see that I cut this out first, and then I will just come here and cut it out. So you can see that the cutting is different. The cutting of this neck is entirely different from the usual one we have. All right, now at this point here, after cutting our neckline, the next thing we're going to do is to give this our shirt a curve, because it's going to be having a curve. Now, in achieving that curve, at this point here, I will come up by 2 inches. I will mark it here. Now, from here at this point, I will get the measurements, the full measurements of this, and then I will divide into 2. All right, so after dividing it into 2, whatever we have, I will come down here to the full length and mark the 7 inches that we got in the division we did. So from this point here, the next thing we're going to do is that I'm going to give it a curve like this. Now, this is optional. In case you don't want yours like this, you can leave it straight, but this is the way my client wants has to be. All right, so I'll go ahead and connect it like this. Now, after connecting it, the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and cut. So guys, I hope you are understanding this to this point. Please, if you don't understand to this point, do well to leave your question on the comment section. I will be on the comment section to attend to any question you have pertaining this tutorial. All right, now after cutting it, this is what we have. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to separate these papers, but before that, this is the front and the back. So we're going to use this paper now to cut on our fabric, but we're going to be cutting the front pattern first. So this is our front pattern. So you can see I have gone ahead to open up our button space. So I will label this now our front, and then here I will label it our button space. I am sorry, my marker stopped working, but this is our button space. Now the button space I'm referring to, remember from the beginning of our tutorial, we folded in 3 inches that I say is going to be 7 for our button holes and our button lap. So this is it. I opened it up. So when you are cutting your own, it is required of you to open it up when you are cutting, just the way I have opened it up like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and cut. So guys, when I was cutting, I still added extra 1 inch at the side. So I'll just go ahead and pin this down, and then I'll cut through. So it's only on that side I added allowance. Every other side I still maintained my normal body space. So guys, I hope at this point you are getting this. So this is what you are supposed to be getting. So if you're not getting anything like this, there's something has to be wrong somewhere. So I've cut it out, and this is the 1 inch, and this is the front pattern. Now I have also gone ahead to place our back pattern. So I want you to also pay attention at this back pattern. Remember the button space we opened the front pattern. All right, we opened the front pattern when we were cutting because our button is going to be at the front. Now for this our back pattern, the back pattern is going to be a bit longer than the front pattern, that is at the back. And then the back pattern, you want to also take note that the back pattern will not have joining, so there's no joining at the back pattern. Don't worry, I will open it up for us to understand properly. So in achieving my come down at the back, there's going to be somehow a tail. Let me just use the word tail for the front pattern. Is not going to be the back pattern, rather. The back pattern and the front pattern is not going to be the same. There's going to be a little design at the back. Now when I'm cutting my back pattern, I want to get the design at that back. You can see that I shifted my button space forward in order for me to get the basic measurement, that the accurate body measurement. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pin it down. This is our back pattern. Take note, guys, please. And then this is what all I'm doing here is to arrange it properly so that I'll make sure that they are even, apart from the button space that I came out, that I moved forward, as you can see from here. Okay, now I will go ahead at this point. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out the 2 inches that I'm going to be having. It's going to have a design at the back, like a come down at the back. So I'll just go ahead and mark the 2 inches. After marking the 2 inches, I will just go ahead, just pay attention to what I'm doing here in case if you want to also achieve this. But please ignore this, just ignore this totally if your back pattern and your front pattern is going to be the same length. All right, now from this point, just the same way we did for the front pattern by dividing the length into 2, which gave us 14 divided by 2, that gave us 7. That is the same thing I'm doing here. I will mark the 7 inch down here and also mark the 7 inch at the back and mark it down here as well. Now after marking it down here, I will go ahead and use my curve rule to curve it into this point. So the joining at the side will be the same. The only difference is that the back pattern is going to have a come down. All right, so you can see what I'm doing here. I will just go ahead and then curve it in to this point like so. So like I said, this is totally optional. So guys, if you have watched this tutorial to this point, please do not forget to click on the subscribe button. If you're yet to subscribe, please do not forget to like. Please do not forget to share this video to someone who might find it very important. And please do not forget to leave a comment. Please leave a comment, leave any question you have on the comment section. Like I said, I'll be on the comment section to answer any question that we have. Okay, so guys, after trimming out this properly, now I'll go ahead and open up the back pattern. So you can see there's no opening at the back. The back is plain, so I'll just go ahead and trim out the excess. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to go green. Please do not forget to not litter your pieces, and please do not forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys on our next tutorial. So the only thing left is the joining of these pieces and we are good to go. So thank you so much.